Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Low Modules Made Simple and Comprehensive. I am Negrikosa. I would like to welcome you guys to the second semester of 2020. If this is your first time in here, please click on that red text written subscribe and also on that bell icon so that you can get a notification whenever there's a new video in the house. Subscribing saves us from losing the link and it doesn't cost any money at all, so we have nothing to lose but more to gain. Today, I would like us to focus on Introduction to Law 1501. We are going to do the first assignment on the second semester. Guys, do not forget to write your student number and also include the unique number of this assignment. These are very vital things that you need to write always. And do not forget to include the honesty declaration form as well. Okay, let us start with the first question. Question number 1.1. In terms of our private law, legal subjects have certain rights over legal objects. Read the following scenario and complete the diagram by identifying two rights from the scenario, as well as the legal subjects and legal objects of these rights. Rendani, an artist, always asked his wife Zanella to sign her name at the back of each of his paintings with her favorite pen before sending his artwork to the gallery. Okay, guys, the first thing that we need to first do here is we need to first find out the definition of the our keywords here, which is legal subject and legal object. We all know what a right is. Okay, let us go to our study guide and find out um, what is meant by legal subject and legal objects. On page 26 of our study guide, it says, but first, who is a legal subject? A legal subject is a person who is subject to or under the control of the norms of the law and who is also, and who also may be the bearer, holder of rights and duties. It is important to note that the term person does not refer to ordinary human beings or natural persons, but also to associations or bodies of people. Okay, we have got our definition of a legal subject. A legal subject is the person. I'm sorry, it is a human being or a person. Yeah. So now we are going to look at the definition of a legal object. It says here, the object of a right, a legal object may be anything that is of economic value to a person. Something may have economic value because it costs a lot of money. It may also have the economic value because it is something which is scarce and therefore difficult to come by, or because it is useful and many people wish to have it. It may be of value only to a particular person, that person's good name, or it may be of value within a particular circle of people, e.g., a painting of a family. Okay, now that we have found the definitions of our keywords there, let us read the question again. It says, identify two rights from the scenario as well as the legal subject and object of these rights. Okay, from our definitions, we now know that our legal subject is Rendani and Zanelli. Then the legal object, it is the painting or the artwork and the pen that Zanelli uses to sign the paintings. Okay, now we need to identify the two rights. Let us go to our study guide. Okay, I am only going to read out the rights which contain our answers, and you can read the rest on your own because we are trying to save time. Okay, number one, real rights. Real rights are rights to physical, material things which we can touch, such as a pen, a car, a head of cows, um, is seen as one unit, or the compressed air in a cylinder. Although the object of a real right is always a thing, the real rights themselves will be called, for example, rights of ownership, rights of pledge, and rights of servitude. Okay, we are going to stop there because we have already found our answer. So this means that Zanele has a real right to her pen. So that's our answer right there. Actually, Zanele has the rights of ownership to her pen. So it is the right, it is a real right, which is the right of ownership. Okay, so now we get to Rendani. Um, Intellectual property rights. Intellectual property rights relates to the creations of the human mind. A work of art, an invention, and a trademark are examples of objects of intellectual property rights. These rights are also sometimes called immaterial property rights. Copyright over what an author has written is an example of an immaterial property right. That is why it is against the law to copy another person's artwork or song and present it as your own creation. Okay, let us go to our answer. Let us quickly draft a table so that we can give out the answers. Okay, here is our table. Um, the right, we're going to start with Rendani because you don't have to mix up Zanele and Rendani's rights or illegal objects or whatever. You need to write everything logically so that you can get everything correct. The right to Rendani is an intellectual property right, and the legal subject is Rendani, and the legal object it is the painting or the artwork. You have got the clear understanding on the explanation on the intellectual property right, that it is the right, sorry, intellectual property rights deals with something that comes from your mind, um, something like an artwork, for instance, as they have given the example there. So I am saying that Rendani has an intellectual property right to his painting because of the definition that I got or the explanation that I got from our study guide. Um, so when we get to Zanele, which is the legal subject, Zanele has a real right to her special pen. She has a right of ownership on her pen. That pen is hers. She can do whatever she wants with her pen, and it is a very special pen to her. So the pen has a special value to her. So it is real right. The legal subject is Zanele. The legal object it is the pen. Do not confuse the two. Just write it exactly as I have done here. 1.2. Mr. Kumalo and Mr. Fentel have been neighbors for some time. However, Mr. Kumalo recently installed a gutter system that causes water to flow right into Mr. Fentel's garden, damaging his plants. This is a nuisance to Mr. Fentel and makes life very unpleasant for him, as he is an avid gardener. Explain what the relationship is between the law and the two property owners' real rights of ownership. Okay, let us go to our study guide. It says here the law brings about a balance between the okay you need to first read out the scenario at the top here. um Here is the scenario here. This is where it starts, the connection between law and right. You are going to read everything there. um this scenario, it's not okay, maybe I can just read it, I don't know, but I just wanted to save time, but let us just do it so that you can be able to understand why I chose that particular answer. Yes. Okay. The connection between law and right. What is the connection between law and right? Let us take the simple example of ownership. Since our in our scenario, Mr. Kumalo and Mr. Finter are property owners, so they have rights of ownership to our land. Sorry, to their land. So it says the properties on which the Motibes and the Vandermeers live are next to each other, just like in our scenario. The Motibe property is registered in Jane's name, and the Vandermeers property is registered in Carol's name. We have already told you that the content of a right is made up of the powers that the holder of a right may exercise. So, the following powers make up the content of Jane's right of ownership. She may use her land, let it, batten it with a mortgage, that is, give it as a security for a loan to be repaid. Decide to leave it to her children or to someone else when she dies, and so she will state this in her will. Okay. Sell it, etc. Carol's right of ownership allows him to the same powers. However, there is a limit to their powers. If there were no limit, Carol and Jane would be constantly quarreling. The law brings about a balance between the interests of Jane and Carol. There are a number of things which a landowner in our story, Jane and Carol are landowners, just like Mr. Kumalo and Mr. Finter. Guys, this is where our answer is supposed to be. This is where you are supposed to summarize your answer from. Leave out the top whatever scenario and just focus on this paragraph here. This is where our answer is supposed to be quoted from. But do not mix up the names. In our scenario, it is Mr. Finter and Mr. Kumalo. Don't write Carol and Jane there. You're going to get error. Okay. It says there are a number of things which a landowner may not do, and which will be a nuisance or cause harm to the neighboring property. Just like Mr. Kumalo is causing a nuisance to Mr. Fenter with the water flowing into his garden. The following few a few examples. Jane may not build right up to the boundary of her land. There is a municipal regulation that prohibits this. She may not dig a ditch at the boundary because this would cause Carol's land to sink. She may not cause excessive smoke on her land, for example, by lighting a fire, because this would be a nuisance and make life unpleasant for Carol. Carol may not do these things either. If Jane or Carol commits such a prohibited act, then the law comes into operation. It further says, Jane or Carol will be forced to remove the nuisance or to compensate the other party. It is most important when studying law that you remember at all times that the content of a right is limited. You must also remember that law and right are connected because it is the rules of law legal rules that decide what the powers of the holder of a right are. In other words, the content of a right and what the limits of the content of a right are. We would like to make a final comment about rights. When a legal subject has a right, the other legal subjects have a duty. There must always be this balance. For example, if I have the right of ownership to my car, the other legal subjects have a duty to respect this right. They may not use my car without my permission. If this balance did not exist, the law would have no meaning. Okay. Um, this is our answer here. You just need to summarize this whole passage here. Um, let me see how many marks. Yeah, it's just 3 marks in G. Um, just try to summarize it as short as it can be. Um, if you can see, guys, today I am doing things differently. I don't say the answer first. I first try to read out where I found the answer so that you can know where I found the answer and how I found the answer. um, yeah, I'm just trying to use different methods, and see which one is more effective. You're going to give me a comment on the comment section and tell me if this one is boring or if it is okay, or maybe I should stick to the way I do things, say out the answer first, then read out where I found the answer. But it's more or less the same thing. But I'm just trying to show you how you are supposed to do things, when you're doing it on your own. Because I don't think I'm always going to be doing this for you. So you just need to first read so that you can find the answer. You don't first find the answer before you read. You first read and find the answer. That's why I'm doing this today. I just want to show you how I do things. So you in your summary, do not mix up the names um of our characters there. As I mentioned earlier, you need to remember that we are dealing with Mr. Kumalo and Mr. Fentel. So you can just say the law brings balance between Mr. Kumalo and Mr. Fentel, as they are both landowners or property owners. There are certain things that the law prohibits them from doing. They may not do something that will cause harm to the neighboring property or a nuisance. For example, um, as it is stated in our scenario that Mr. Kumalo is letting water into Mr. Fenter's garden. That is very wrong, you know, because they are two neighbors. They need to live in harmony. They need to respect each other. They both have equal rights. They all have rights in their properties, but the content of a right is limited. That is where the relationship between law and right strikes. We know that there is the rules of law that decide what the powers of the holder of a right are and what the limits to the content of a right are. Um, yeah, this is how your your summary is supposed to look like. More or less the same, but just don't write exactly as I have said here, because you are going to um yeah, just try to avoid plagiarism, as I always say in most of my videos. The next question is question 2. Read the following scenario and answer the questions that follow. Calvin Jones is arrested on suspicion that he raped and murdered a number of young women over a period of 5 years. He is brought to the police holding cells while awaiting his bail hearing. One morning, he is found hanging in his cell. In the police report on the incident, it is indicated by the police officer on duty that Calvin committed suicide. However, upon further investigation, it is determined that he died after being tortured by the police during interrogation. In an attempt to cover this up, his death was made to appear like a suicide. 2.1. Which relevant branch of the state would be implicated in this scenario? Provide a reason for your answer. Okay, this is on page 166 of our study guide. Um, the answer to 2.1 is executive authority that applies and carries out the law. I am saying this because executive authority is law enforcement. Law enforcement, it is the police. So remember that in our scenario, it is okay. Let me just go to the scenario. It is stated there that Calvin Jones was in police holding cells, which means that he was in police custody. And or maybe guys, you know what? But it's okay. Yeah, we're going to do it on 2.2. It's fine. Um, yeah, let me just first give out the definition of separation of powers so that it can be very clear, on why I chose the executive and all that, But if I do that, I'll be answering 2.2. So yeah, let's just leave it like that. Our answer to 2.1 is executive authority because it deals with the the police, and in our scenario, it is stated that our victim was in police custody. Yeah, that's it. He was tortured. So this means that the police enforcement have abused their state power. They have abused the power that they've been given by the state because they have taken Calvin's life. Yeah, they have killed him. They have infringed his fundamental right to life. Yeah. Okay. Let's go to question 2.2. Why is the concept of separation of powers important? Okay. The separation of powers is essential in a democratic state because if too much power is concentrated in any one branch of the state, this may easily lead to abuse. For example, if the same branch of government made the law, applied it and carried it out, and also decided questions relating to that law, there will be no way of questioning the application and execution of the constitutionality of that law. The state would be able to make any law it wanted to, however unjust, and have it enforced without being checked, controlled at any point. By giving certain specific functions, legislative, executive, and judicial, to each of the three branches of government, the separation of powers ensures that the powers of each state organ are kept in check. So we have our answer there. Just summarize this what this paragraph here. And after all, I think it's just 2 marks, so there's no much to it. 2.3. Which fundamental rights have been infringed in this scenario? Um, the fundamental rights that have been infringed in this scenario, it is the right to life. Let's first get the definition of fundamental rights. What are fundamental rights? Um, Here we are looking for the definition of fundamental rights. What do they mean when they are talking about fundamental rights? Categories, kinds of fundamental rights. We are sure that when you made your list of fundamental rights, you notice that there are many different fundamental rights. Some of the rights are very exact. For example, you will say that they deal with the very basic needs of the people like food and water. In the case of rights, such as the right to human dignity or the right to freedom of religion. These rights safeguard democracy and protect the individual from the abuse of state power. Then there are other rights, such as environmental rights, that groups of people will try to realize because of these differences. Fundamental rights are often divided into three categories. Okay, I'm sure we have grabbed what a fundamental right is, what is meant by the way, fundamental right. Okay, 2.4. To which category of fundamental rights does the right identified in 2.3 belong? Provide a reason for answer. Okay, guys, this is on page 173 of our study guide. I think I forgot to mention the page earlier. First generation rights. These rights are sometimes called blue rights. They are civil rights, procedural rights, and political rights. These are the rights that protect the individual from the abuse of state power. They protect us from for example, from officials who might disgracefully use the power that they have been given by the state. Examples of such rights are the right to equality, the right to human dignity, the right to life. That's why I said our answer on which question is that again? Our answer on 2.3, it is the right to life. The right that have been infringed on that scenario, it is the right to life. This is the answer. That's why I did not explain much. I knew that we were going to get to this. Let's continue. The right to freedom of expression and the right to freedom and security of the person. Okay, this is the category that the rights, what the fundamental rights falls under. First generation rights. This is our answer. 2.5. Does this scenario involve a horizontal or vertical application of the Bill of Rights? Provide a reason for your answer. I think we all know that, we all remember that horizontal application deals with the relationship between an individual, the conflict between an individual and another individual. So a vertical application deals with the state and the a person, yeah, or an individual. Yeah. I think that's more, yeah. So in our scenario here, it is our victim Calvin and the police who killed him. So it is the state versus a citizen. So I think our not I don't think I know our answer is a vertical application. Let us visit our study guide. Yes, this is on page 175 of your study guide. There is a diagram there showing the vertical application. It is the state versus an individual or a group of people, or as well as a private institution. Um, this vertical application applies between the state and an individual, between the government and a person. So the police are the government, so they are the state, and Calvin is an individual, so it is vertical, not horizontal application. Here is the horizontal application. You see the horizontal application, it is between the individual of sorry it is between an individual or group of people or private institution and another individual or a group of people or another private institution. So our answer is vertical application. sorry about that, guys. Sorry. On page 210, we have our legal professionals. Um, what? Mm, mentioned there. Um, they say members of the legal profession who practice law privately and are called private legal practitioners, namely attorneys and advocates. Here, our legal professionals are the attorneys and the advocates. Point number two, members of the legal profession in the public service, civil servants who practice law on behalf of the state, for example, public prosecutors and state advocates, state attorneys, and state legal advisors. Presiding officers who are also members of the legal profession in the public service, for example, magistrates and judges. Court officials who take part in our court proceedings, for example, the court orderly, the court interpreter, and the family advocate. Court officials who are responsible for administrative matters that relate to the court, that relate to court and the law. For example, the master of the High Court, the registrar of the High Court, the clerk of the court, and the sheriff. Those are our legal professionals. So now we'll go back to our question. Explain the following statement. All legal professionals must act ethically. Now that we have a clear understanding of what legal professionals are, we are now able to answer our question. Okay, this is where our answer is supposed to be. I'm going to read out the whole passage here, but it is only just 2 marks, so you will see where the answer is. But I just want to read out everything so that you can be able to understand. I just can't read out the answer. Ethical conduct. You should now be aware that there are different members of the legal profession who perform specific functions in legal practice. Yes, we have done that already. All the professionals above are subject to a high duty of care and trust. Those are ethics. As the legal profession functions as a system of service to the public, it is very important that these professionals are ethical, competent, act with integrity, honesty, and do not abuse their positions. There we have our answer right there. 3.2. According to the Legal Practice Act 28 of 2014, what are the consequences when a legal practitioner acts unethically? We have our answer there on page 230. It says, if any legal practitioners contravene the code, their conduct may be found unethical or unprofessional, and there may be different consequences. This may include disciplinary hearings and fines. In the case of serious misconduct, legal practitioners may even be struck off the roll and may not be allowed to practice as legal practitioners any longer. Okay, yeah, we have our answer right there. Guys, thank you for watching this video, and yeah, that's all that I have to say to you. Don't just rely on what I am saying or what I am giving out to you. Please, guys, open up your study guides. There is no question that is on any tutorial letter that it is not on the study guide. Guys, open your books, study your books. I am not a very smart person or anything. I am just opening up the study guide. This is where I get the answers. So do not be lazy. Open up your books. You are going to pass. But if you do not open up your books, no matter what I do, no matter how hard I try to help you, it is not going to be of any use, because the person that is supposed to work hard is not working hard. So Just work hard. This is your future, this is your career. Do not waste any time, most especially if you're an NSFAS beneficiary. Please guys, there are many students who long to be like you, who wants to be in the position that you are in. There are many students um, who want to further their studies, but they cannot do that. They are not able to do that because they are not in any position to afford any what tertiary funds, so tertiary fees. So if you are lucky enough to get that NSFAS, guys, please use it wisely. You are not going to be sorry. Let's just open up our books, guys. Now we are grounded. We are not allowed to go wherever. Um, we have to stay indoors for the safety of our loved ones and ourselves. So you can't say you are bored while you have your study guide, while you have your study material. Open up your books, study up, write assignments, do revision, do whatever. Just make sure that you pass, guys. What you don't understand, leave me a comment. I will get to you. I will attend to you. And thank you very much. Keep safe and peace out.